You are listening to an exclusive on Pod Hub Network. Your city, your podcast.
To the delight of this crowd, McClendon marches down the dugout steps with first base. McCutcheon's throw. The runner breaks to the plate. Here's the throw. Wow. He is out. The Buccos win.
That ball's hit well to left center field. Back toward the track. And that ball is gone.
You are listening to the North Shore 9 podcast. Follow them on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Also, make sure to watch NS9 Live every Thursday on Twitch and help support by becoming a patron. Let's go Bucks!
What's up, everybody? Welcome to NS9 Live. I'm your host, Anthony DiNardo. With me, as always, we got ourselves Tyler and Jim Rosati. What's up, fellas? How's everyone doing after this fantastic Padres series?
I didn't hear a yo-yo-yo. That was a little strange.
Hey, yo-yo-yo.
That's true. No yo-yo-yos.
Do I do that on this show?
Yeah.
You do it at the beginning of every show.
Of this one, of NS9? Do I? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then.
That was weird.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I thought we were doing a test run here.
I mean, all our shows are basically a test run, aren't they?
True.
Basically.
We're still waiting on the get out of the beta version of North Shore 9. But anyways, yes, guys, how y'all doing?
I'm here.
Doing good. Yeah, doing good. That was a fun homestand. You know, I still don't think it changed my mind about the Pirates and the direction that they're heading this year.
54 wins still, Jim.
It was fun to see them beat up on the Cubs. It was fun to see some good games against the Padres. I mean, today's wasn't great, but a couple nice games there against a pretty decent team. So that was good to see. Yeah, it was a good week.
Just thankful I didn't have to. I got to watch them beat up on Musgrove a little bit, so that I don't have my Twitter feed blown up.
Oh, right. Yes, because that wasn't going to be pretty if Musgrove came in here and, I mean, obviously we're not expecting a no-hitter, but just pitched really, really well, obviously.
Yeah.
Which honestly, he did also pitch well.
No, he didn't pitch bad, but
right.
Also didn't have to hear.
It wasn't an incredible start.
He's no Tyler Anderson. I mean,
We did, as DiNardo eloquently put it, Pirates bad pitcher, trade bad team, or good team.
yes.
Pirates pitcher turn good, Pirates bad.
Right. Yep. We didn't have to get the lazy takes. That was good. But I mean, honestly, if you want to talk about, let's talk about that. I thought the Pirates, this series, as far as the bats go, I mean, pitching was a mixed bag of balls for a lack of terms. But I feel like for the batting, the hitters, right? It was pretty good. I mean, honestly, I loved their approach against Musgrove. They were very, very patient. And we'll get to one singular person as well, Colin Moran. I mean, I'm just outstanding. I want to say baffled because I think he's a decent player, but I'm baffled in the sense of how improved he looks this year opposed to last year, which also was a good season. But just the whole Pirates approach outside of Anthony Alford Jr., they were really good this series, especially Joe Musgrove start.
I'm going to put the jersey
I'll say
on.
this about Moran. Yeah, the thing about Moran that I've noticed, and then really it's him and Evans kind of doing the same thing. Just every at bat, right? They don't take an at bat off. Evans and Moran, every time they come to the plate, it's a battle. They have good approaches. It's the pitcher has to work to get them out if they do get out. And then a lot of times they're either working a walk or you're seeing Moran. Moran is just peppering the left center field gap. I feel like every game he's going that left center field, and he's just peppering it over and over again. And that type of approach is going to lead to, because he's letting the ball come in a little bit farther. So he's able to recognize pitches, easier. But he looked really good this series. Evans wasn't, otherworldly, these past few games, but he still put together good at bats. Those two, like I said, just the way that they've been approaching plate appearances day in, day out has been impressive so far.
So I'm going to be the Debbie Downer.
We're
As
shocked.
we know,
We're
I love
shocked,
Colin.
Tyler.
I know.
Great.
As we all know, I love Colin Moran.
Yes.
It seems like every year he puts together this type of deal at the end of the year. He's still a guy. The bat speed's not there. Higher velo's going to get him. Up in the zone, they're going to get him. He'll put together this type of stretch, but he is what he is, man. He's going to be a 100 to 110 WRC plus kind of guy, and pitchers are going to figure out that we're going to throw high on him. Bat speed's not there. As Jim said, yeah, he's waiting back on it, but that's just kind of counterproductive on what his weakness is.
But isn't that almost kind of playing into his weakness? I mean, and by not playing in, I mean like counteracting it, right? You know, if he's not able to necessarily generate the bat speed, you know, he's still, his approach is allowing him, if he's not trying to pull everything, right, then he's trying to go the other way with stuff, then the bat speed isn't as big of a deal.
But it is whenever the pitchers start coming at him up in the zone. I think it's been his approach forever. I think just whenever we see, and I feel like we've seen it before, where he gets on a stretch of his approach is great, he's going the other way. Once he sees the higher end pitcher that's going to be up in the zone on him, the higher velo, he's not the dude that's able to get to the ball. So I don't know if it's more of a approach change for him. I think it's just everything's kind of gone his way, where he's facing guys that are fitting the type of approach he has.
I mean, does he also? I guess, I mean, to a degree, I can see what you're saying, Tyler. But also, I think too, like, doesn't he just seem way more patient this year as well? Like, he's really hunting that pitch for him, and he's laying off a lot of stuff too. I mean, here's the thing too: he's walking a lot more this year, and it's small sample. I get that, but I mean, that's another thing that like really has gleamed out to me is the fact that like just how patient he is at the plate right now.
You were cutting in that entire time, but yeah.
I made
really?
out, yeah, I made out what you said there. It was kind of going in and out, but you're good now. But no, yeah, as far as the patience, right? He's getting on base. He's putting together good at bats. He's making the pitchers throw a lot of pitches. I mean, so far so good for Colin Moran. I mean, I would like to see more power, right? I mean, he's got 2 home runs so far. You would like Colin Moran to be a guy who could hit 25 plus home runs, you know, in this day and age. I don't know if he's going to be able to hit 25 home runs and then at the same time hit, what is he, 311 right now? But, well, he's 293 after today.
No,
but
311.
as far as his approach goes, oh yeah, here he is. I was looking at yesterday's. Yeah, so 311. Yeah, I'd like to see more power, but the approach is working. Getting on base, he's hitting singles, he's hitting doubles. I can't really complain.
I hear you, but I don't have a problem with the approach. I love the approach to going the other way, but it's also, I just don't think he has the talent to be able to sustain this at all.
Okay. Well, we're going to find out here eventually. But so far, through these 13 games, I just got to say, like, I have liked what I've seen from Colin Moran. But also expanding from him, you know, as far as a team, like I said, you know, the lineup was fairly good this series. You know, I mean, again, like the thing about the lineup is it's not a stars and scrubs in the sense that like these guys are stars like Colin Moran. Like, it's not a star, but in the sense of it's like mediocres to complete scrubs. In the sense, I mean, Anthony Alford was what 1-0 of 19. Today he got his first hit. Perez just got his first hit. It just seems like this, it's kind of bunched up, unless we have some strange lineups from Shelton for some unknown reason. But it just seems as if, like, you know, there's this bunch of hitters sandwiched, you know, with amongst each other that can hit, can be productive. And so far they have been productive. And it's like outside of that, it's just disastrous. But with those productive hitters, they have all been very productive so far this year. To the sense of, like, have you guys kind of said, surprising. I mean, Adam Frazier has done pretty well. Colin Moran has done pretty well. Obviously, Thrill Up Evans is lighting up the world right now. Cool down a little bit here, but it's like, yeah, I mean, and obviously Brian Hayes is going to be coming back. So Brian Reynolds also doing well. Even Kevin, I keep saying Kevin. I'm sorry, Jacob. I'm so sorry for your father. I swear I'll never stop calling you Kevin Stallings. But even Jacob Stallings has shown life with the bat. Tyler.
Yes.
So, I mean, going into the season,
13 games in, but yes.
We didn't think this lineup was going to be good. And so far, it's showing that it's been more productive than I've anticipated. Certainly more productive than the Cubs. That's for sure.
Anthony Alford is absolutely freaking atrocious.
Yeah.
Well, I was reading our group text earlier about Anthony Alford. And I think, Denardo, you were the one that put in there that how does he keep – you shared something. How does he keep getting –
That was Ryan, actually.
Opportunities.
Yeah, that was Ryan.
It might have been. Okay. I feel like it's everyone is falling in love with the athleticism. It's almost like a Bubba Stallings type of deal, where everyone's just in love with how athletic this guy is. But he's a terrible baseball player. He stinks. How does this guy keep getting shots?
I mean, can it be a little bit of two things, though? I mean, can it be like he has skills, he has tools, like you said, the athleticism is
what
there.
Tools? He's never shown them.
But at the same time, there's not real big competition going on in center field. It's not as if he's taking bats away, and I think that's part of it. So like with a Polanco, you're going to give at bats. The reason to give him at bats is because there was something there.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like with Anthony Alford, it's like you're going to give him at bats because there's also the same situation. There's no one there he's really taking at bats from.
I know, but my God, this guy stinks.
Well, that's what I'm getting at. But I mean, I'm starting to think this leash is tightening up because there's a degree where it's like, I want to see something, and I understand like you have a bad stretch. It's 14 games, a bad stretch. But 0 for 19 with 15 Ks, that's not a bad stretch.
He's bad. Like, there's no way around it. He's not a Major League Baseball player. He's hardly a AAA baseball player. The guy didn't hit the minors. Everyone is falling in love with the potential / athleticism. He's not good. Just let him go play somewhere else. Go to the Mexican League. Go away.
I know.
You're bad.
I know Jim's waiting to pounce on this, so go ahead, Jim. Here's your chance.
I mean, this whole time I've kind of been saying that I really haven't seen much out of Alford. I do think that, like, if Anthony Alford made the team out of spring training, right? Like 24 plate appearances isn't enough to just be like, you're done.
Sure.
So as much as I honestly, I don't think there's really anything interesting about Anthony Alford. I do think they should at least give him a month, He got hit today. It wasn't a very good hit. It was like a fluke, little blue ball.
But it was a hit. It counted.
But it was a hit.
It
counts.
Sheet.
Yeah. He actually has walked a few. His walk rate is actually decent. It's just he's striking out 2 out of every 3 at bats. So that's a problem. Again, he's had an absolutely dreadful start of the season. I do not have much faith in Anthony Alford, but at the same time, if you thought he was good enough to give him a shot to play center field, then you can't say after 24 plate appearances, nope, you're done. That's it. Like, that's just not enough. 24 plate appearances. I mean, Anthony Alford's only played 8 games, and he didn't even start all 8 of those, right? He's probably only started like 6 games this year. If you're going to give the guy a chance, give the guy a chance. At least give him the end of the month.
No, I'm good. I've seen enough. The guy stinks.
Yeah, I've seen enough. I don't think he's any good, but I don't think you can just say after 8 games, hey, you won the spot on the roster, but 8 games later,
win is a very
never mind.
strong word.
I think that's part of the difference.
Anthony Alford was the one guy. Alford was the one guy, though, like who he won a roster spot. He didn't have a roster spot going into this, right? And he I think he played himself onto this roster during spring training. So I think he deserves a little more than, like, again, how many games has he started? 5 or 6. He deserves more than that.
I mean,
He's
okay,
bad.
so I'm kind of in the middle of both of you, shockingly. Like the Jim's degree, it's true. Like, I'm not going to give up on him. I mean, it was like the whole Polanco argument we had last week. If Polanco won the right field job, you're not going to DFA him, or bench him or whatever after 5 games. And it's kind of the same thing here. Like, if it was Alford that won the job, like he is the center fielder, after 8 games, you're not going to say, see ya, you're gone. But what I will say, like, the degree and the difference is, this isn't even like Alford wishes he was Polanco bad.
Yeah.
I guess that's what I'm coming at here.
Right.
It's so bad that the leash, like I said, it's not so much I'm saying like he's gone, but the leash is really shortening. I mean, with him playing this terrible, maybe it's more of a split now with him and Fowler. I mean, how can I as Derek Shelton say, keep going out there? You're striking out 66% of the time. Keep going out there. Keep going out there. It's not like it's not much he's doing right now to win and keep the center field job. And now that Jared Oliva is on the travel team, right? I mean, I think that's kind of putting on red alert now as well. I mean, because the center field position has been terrible. I didn't realize this. This is out on Twitter. I saw a few people tweet it. Today was the first hit from the 8-hole all season, which of course is typically occupied by those guys. So, Anthony Alford, I just feel is like, you're on the hot seat right now. Like it starts right now. Yes, I'm not gonna get him off the team right now, but the leash is short. You continue this, I don't know if we're lasting and waiting till the end of April to get him off.
There's nothing intriguing about this guy. In the minors, he had an okay spring training, not good. He won a job against a bunch of bad players. He stinks. I get it. The team stinks. Let me see someone that might have something to do in the future. This guy's bad. Let's not waste our time.
Again, let me read. I have absolutely no issues whatsoever with Alford being designated for assignment tonight, right? I don't have any issues with that. I just think it's, hey, you made the club. Let's give you more than 6 games. That's all.
I hear you, but Denardo brought up Polanco. Polanco's at least shown at some point he could be a major league hitter.
True.
Anthony Alford hasn't shown he can be a minor league hitter.
True. I mean, both are true.
He sucks.
Now, there's not many good options for center field, but there's certainly options, and there's no minor league season going on yet. That's where I just feel like, because I mean, Alford has options still, right? We're not really DFAing him. He would just or is he out of
I do not think Alford has any options.
I don't care.
You are right. He does not. Okay, so he doesn't have any options left. Is anyone really claiming him? No. So maybe, once April ends.
Maybe like the Rangers or something like that. I don't know. I could see a team maybe doing it.
And I'm not saying it.
I mean, maybe the Rockies, right? They need a tank.
I'm not saying it because I think that they have a world beater coming up, but at least Goodwin has shown that he can hit a Major League Baseball before.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
So I think if they're going to bring up Goodwin, it means something happened with Fowler, because like I think they like that like lefty righty just on the bench type thing. So
I mean, it's
gone,
been magnificent, Jim.
Really...
It's been
Yeah.
So I'm not saying they like what they have.
I don't think this team's in a spot.
The
to
strategy
decide.
behind that has
like
played
what
out
they
so
have
well.
right now.
Yeah,
But
I don't think they're
if,
in that kind of position.
But I think if you're gonna have it, you're gonna like they want to do that platoon as much as they can. And
It's worked out so well.
again, I know it hasn't.
I know.
But I don't. I wouldn't. I would be surprised if it was Fowler and Goodwin on this team, because then you don't really have any righties.
They both
in the
suck.
outfield.
I mean, yeah, I get the idea.
We
of
are
it, but I
wasting
think,
our time.
again, like, aren't you kind of at a point if Alfred continues this that it doesn't matter? I don't care what you are. You could stand up there and swing the bat between your legs. You could use your feet. I mean, you might have a better success than Alfred right now. Like, I don't care about the ready lefty. This is the
I mentioned earlier today, I would be completely fine with them just saying, Alfred, Fowler, you're both gone. Oliva, Goodwin, let's try you. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I hear
Fowler
you.
hasn't been good either.
But
Fowler's been bad also.
He has, but
more
I
of
think
a-
less opportunities as well. I don't know.
This is more of a, Anthony Alfred is intriguing. No, he was never intriguing. He blows. Shut up.
Okay, so
He blows.
let's put it this way. And
Fowler has played more
actually,
than Alfred.
yeah, I was gonna say, like, never
They
mind.
both blow.
So Fowler has definitely played just as much. Just not as awful, but still bad. So I'll give you that. But here's my thing. So we've talked about the center
He's a
field position
250 OPS.
way too long on this show right now. Because
Okay.
you are correct. It's quite possible that end of April comes and they are both gone. But yes, I mean, I guess to sum this up so far, I mean, it's both been terrible. And I think, right, like, Oliva now being put into the travel team, right? I think, again, like, there's something coming. If one of them, which I think is Alfred first, doesn't show, here comes Oliva. And then probably Goodwin's soon to come too. If that happens, right? Does that make sense?
That makes sense. And I think eventually this is all going to lead to hopefully seeing Swaggerty in there.
There it is. Okay. You guys will appreciate that
guy.
on the over.
It's my guy. You know what I love the most about all this? Bernardo's getting a little bit of gray in that beard now, finally.
And don't even start. I
Looks
haven't
good.
shaved.
You look distinguished.
Once I
Distinguished
Dude,
Bernardo.
hides it.
That just for men's wearing off.
Shut up, Tyler. I'm gonna have to chroma key at this now and get all the whites out of the screen.
At least you can grow one.
Yeah, there you go. I don't know, 12. All right, so we're moving off from center field. So I guess let's just talk about it. Let's bring up Mitch Keller. So obviously, we were pretty enthused because last Wednesday, Jim and I talked about Mitch Keller. We talked about what, Jim really was going off about what he needs to do. He has to have some success and go off. And he found that with the Cubs series. He pitched a really, really good game against the Cubs. So we're looking into this game, hoping that he can build upon it. That didn't happen today. It was pretty much the complete opposite. He looked even worse than his previous starts, but differently. And yeah, like it seemed like he reverted right back to the old Mitch Keller, which still let me bring the stat up real quick for everyone, because it feels like, I know obviously the 60 game season was part of it, but it seems like Mitch Keller has been like a major leaguer for a while. I heard the stat today that this was his 8th home game of his major league career. This is 8th game in PNC Park. Like, think about that. 8 games. So anyways, back to Mitch Keller. What are we doing here, guys?
Go ahead, Jim. You got many opinions.
As far as with Keller, I thought you were bringing something up.
No, not
on the screen.
Not on Mitch. Hold on.
Okay.
Is there a trash can?
No, I think it's just disappointing to see. We talked about this last week, right? We talked about how he needed to taste success, and that success would hopefully turn into a more consistent, different looking Mitch Keller. We saw that success last week, and today he just looked like a completely different pitcher. He reverted back to his old self. He wasn't attacking hitters. He wasn't the breaking stuff. He wasn't throwing like conviction, right? The curveballs he was leaving up, the sliders were being hung, and they were just being hit all over the field. It was a good Padres lineup that he was facing. You can't throw Manny Machado a middle hanging slider,
right,
or Manny Machado is going to hit that, into the left field fence, over the left field fence. And that's what he did. So, and then like I said, it's one of those things where once that started happening, he's just not the same guy. He's not the same pitcher whenever he's struggling. When people on base and things aren't going his way, instead of, digging down deep and getting out of jams and just saying, you know what, I'm going to take this inning over and we're going to get out of this. It just kind of keeps spiraling and spiraling. From like not from like a stuff standpoint or who he reminds me, but like just from like when things get bad. Like he kind of reminds me of like Charlie Morton when he was here, where like Morton kind of the same way. Once things started going bad, Morton, like it was over. There was no coming back from it. And that just kind of seems to be the pattern right now for Keller. He's still young, but he needs to start pitching better. I mean, I said it before this year, like this is like a do or die year for Keller. He needs to show up, or Mitch Keller might not be the Mitch Keller that we hope he is.
So I dug a little bit into it earlier. I thought he was giving up a lot of hard hits. Actually, he really doesn't give up that much hard contact.
I mean,
throughout his career.
He did, but right for his career, not.
He does, but throughout his career, he's not. Like he's swinging his stuff's there, and it's one of those guys that's what the hell is wrong with him. So Jim alluded to it when it's like, at this point, it's a mental issue. The guy just does not, as Jim said, he doesn't throw a conviction. When times are bad, then I feel bad bringing it up, but Ryan's posted earlier about, does this guy look like he wants to be on the mound right now?
Right.
He sure as hell didn't. He did not look like a guy that wanted to be on that major league mound right there.
So, I mean, it could be a personality thing, and that I guess I kind of get, but I mean, if that is your personality, that makes sense why you might just be that way. And I mean, I don't know what it is that you have to fight through or whatever, but I mean, you got to attack guys.
He looks scared to death. You have to have some swag or something, whatever. Be on that mound and attack those guys. I mean, you are facing a good lineup. Again, the Cubs lineup has been bad. I mean, obviously those guys aren't typically bad, but it's been bad when he faced them. I don't know if he just felt a certain way. And of course they got a big jump, and that's why he got some confidence in there. He looked a little bit different. He was pitching better. But like today, they're facing a good San Diego Padres lineup, and they got to him. And I mean, obviously before the game, as you mentioned, with the video that Ryan posted, which got a lot of love and hate on Twitter, but like you just see his mentality, and he just seems very, I mean, he could be a very chill guy, and I get that. Everyone loves to talk about, as you even just said here, like AJ Burnett, we'll get AJ here. Well, I don't know if AJ Burnett's going to help him. I mean, AJ Burnett has a completely different personality than Mitch Keller. So, but you have to do something. You have to find something to get your mindset up there on that mound and face those guys. And like you said, like he just looks like he's scared. Like these guys are major leaguers and I don't belong here. Yeah, I didn't mention AJ yet, but I did before the show.
Okay, I couldn't remember if it was before or not.
No, I know, but
we've said it before here because we keep seeing it on Twitter.
I know,
too,
it's been nonstop though. Like, AJ, you got to talk to this kid.
I don't think that's going to help.
AJ doesn't need to talk to this guy. That doesn't mean anything. This kid needs to learn that, hey, I'm better than you. That's it. It all comes down to mentality, and I don't know if he has it.
And I just don't get why. I mean, and I guess I understand it. His command was just way off today. He was throwing the ball all over the place, but the stuff is there. Like if you look at the stuff, and even like compared to other pitchers, right? His fastball is an average fastball. His slider, above average slider. Curveball is one of the best curveballs in the league when it comes to vertical movement. Like he's got one of the best curveballs in baseball. The issue here is he's not throwing it where he needs to. He's not generating swings and misses because he's all over the place. So people are just letting it go and sitting on the mistakes. It's just it was a bad game for him. And it was something where you were hoping he was going to build off of last week, because last week you saw what he was like when the command was there. He was pinpointing that fastball at the top of the zone. He was getting people to chase with the slider and the curveball, low and away, and it was working. Today the breaking stuff was not there. It was not there at all. He had zero command of it whatsoever. And because he had zero command of the breaking stuff, the fastball didn't play because they were able to just sit on that. He threw a few good fastballs later on in the outing today, and they were hit because there was no reason to really worry about the other stuff.
Just a random thought of not major league pitching coach. It seems like he's in a spot where he's trying to locate the curveball so much that he's just, as Jim said earlier, he's not throwing to the conviction. He's not saying, you know what, whatever happens here, I'm throwing this thing as hard as I can. It all seems like it's a mental issue with Mitch Keller.
Now, part of it too, I want to bring up here as well. His release point, was all over. Like the one thing about the Cubs game was he looked mentally a whole different person, which was really good. His pitching, his pitches were very effective. His release point was really tightened up that game. And then today, again, like the complete opposite. We saw the mentality, we saw the body language, we saw how he looked there on the mound. Wasn't confident. He didn't have that to him. But then, right, like he was like Jim alluded to. Obviously, he said, he wasn't commanding anything. His release point was everywhere. So maybe he didn't have his stuff today. That could also be it, But with that, he also didn't trust anything. And it seemed like he was different like every inning too. There were some innings, obviously they were hitting him, which wasn't good, but he was getting the ball into the zone. Obviously that's why there was a lot of hits that were made. And then, went out like I forget who it was. It must have been the guy in the 2-hole. I thought it was a leadoff hitter. So it must have been Profar that got out, and then Cronenworth and Machado came up, and it was 8 straight balls. It was just like he feared them. Like, these guys got hits off me. I don't want any part of them. And he just walked them.
And they both scored, I'm pretty sure.
Pretty sure, because I think that's where it's really opened up.
Yeah.
The Pirates just need to hire a real sports psychologist. Because we've had too many head cases in this organization by this point. Tyler Glasnow, Charlie Morton, Mitch Keller.
They brought in John Baker, right? But that's not really his role with this team. So
someone that Keone Kelly is not going to fight.
Everyone says, everyone says AJ Burnett. They need a Keone Keller in this club. They'll fix Mitch Keller right now.
Yeah.
Can someone just walk in this building and say, I don't care where this ball's going, I'm throwing it. Screw it.
I would just get like Jared Hughes out there.
Jeez.
Jared Hughes is a madman.
And then Brandon Phillips is going to fight him. That's the whole thing.
Future Hall of Famer Brandon Phillips.
Oh, he's dog shit. He's terrible.
No, I saw that. I saw that written the other day. It made me laugh.
Mitch Keller, it all comes back to, like, if nobody can figure out what's going on with you and you have that good of stuff, it comes back to him. He's not doing it.
Yeah, and I actually say it was DK today who actually said this doesn't really seem like it's a Pirates issue. The Pirates have taken the reins off of Keller and said, "Hey, go throw your stuff," right? And he's just not doing it. This seems more like a Keller issue than like a Pirates pitching philosophy issue or a coaching issue. It's just Keller needs to be better.
No, I totally agree with that.
I don't know what it's going to take to get him to just.
So the director of mental performance and learning is Bernie Holiday. So the Pirates do have one of those.
They did fire the last guy that got in the fight with Keone Keller.
So, and that's something we said last week too about, Baker. Like, should he have maybe a specialized little side project he has with Keller? And they have Bernie Holiday is the mental performance and learning director. So to me, like, not to say that it doesn't fall, I guess, ultimately on Oscar Marin and such, but like, to me, I think the real work that needs to be done isn't Oscar Marin. It's not the pitching philosophy and such, as it's been in the past per se. It's Bernie Holiday. That's who needs to get with Mitch Keller. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what we're talking about. Like, that's why I say Oscar Marin, AJ Burnett. Like, AJ Burnett isn't what he needs, because AJ Burnett is his own person, his own thing. What worked for AJ Burnett isn't going to work for Mitch Keller, because they're completely different people. They can't relate. AJ's going to say, "Go do this," and Mitch Keller's like, "No, I feel weird doing that. That's not my personality. I can't do that." It puts more pressure and stress on him to think about doing this too. Like, Bernie Holiday has to find some way to get in Mitch's head to get him right, I guess.
Yeah. Someone's got to be able to get into that kid's head and say, "I'm better than you. Let's do it."
Right. But again, it is still ultimately on Mitch Keller.
It is, but Oscar Marin's got to be better. I mean, you're the pitch coach. You've got to be able to relate to these kids, these dudes. You got to find a way.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, they have to figure out a way for Keller to be good. He's a very important piece on this team.
Yes, he is.
For the future.
Yes, he is. That'd be a huge disappointment if it's not Mitch Keller going forward. This new wave of Pirate players.
I mean, you look at this pitching staff, top to bottom. Keller's the one who's supposed to anchor these guys for the foreseeable future.
There's been too many examples in this Pirates organization of guys that are mentally soft. Someone's got to figure this out.
Need to bring back Hoka Hay. That's what all went wrong.
Yep, that's what we need. We need some Navy SEAL training.
Telling you.
Someone's got to give here.
Telling you. Well, everyone make fun of it, but,
Or else someone else will. And then we're going to be bitching in 5 years.
That's what I'm saying. They all want to make fun of it, but now everyone's just so soft on here. If we had that training still in existence, we'd be mentally strong, and Mitch Keller would be out there dominating. Ace of the staff.
Good stuff.
Let's do it.
So anyway, yeah, I mean, I'm with you. Again, it's still early on. This is a disappointing start in this trek of 2021, but I guess now let's see what next game is. We're gonna keep doing that all year. That's what the season's gonna be for Mitch Keller. Like Jim said, like, he's got to have to figure it out this year. I'm not saying if he doesn't, it's done, it's over, and you get rid of Keller, you DFA Keller or whatever. But like, it is an important year, because if it doesn't happen this year, I don't know if it's going to happen going forward. Like, what's going to change? What's different from next year to this year? If that's his issue, it's not a different pitching philosophy. It's not, mechanics from this point. It's not most of the typical pitching stuff. It's all a mentality. And if it ain't here, which is unfortunate, maybe it just is a different scenery. I don't know. Which then turns back into Pirates bad. Ha ha ha.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Keller's a guy that you give up on, for a while. But yeah, I mean, he's got to get it right. And now the luxury that this team has right now is they aren't competing for, playoff spots right now this year or probably next year. So, it does give them some time to get it right. But like he needs to start doing it. He needs to start shoving. He needs to start striking people out. One strikeout and 9 hits in 3 1/3 innings. I don't even understand how that's possible with a pitcher with his stuff.
True.
I can tell you how he's soft.
All right. So who's not soft? Well, actually, no. We'll go into who also is soft. Let's keep this soft. Let's keep the negativity. We'll end on a positive. So who's also soft?
Keep the negativity going.
Yes. Kevin Newman. All right. So we talked about his spring.
I was going to say who wasn't soft, and it's
no. We're going to continue.
Oviedo.
Keep your segue for the next one. No, we're staying
he's not
with soft.
Soft contract. Soft contract. Soft contract. God.
You okay, Tyler? Do you need another
Not
beer?
really. God. I got no beer on me. But
That's
anyhow, yes, Kevin Newman.
That's it. Tyler, so this is sober Tyler. See what you guys get.
That's not fun.
Anyway, so yes, to Kevin Newman, keeping on the negativity and softness. Kevin Newman is bad. He's bad again. We saw the spring training. I was hanging on to it with some hope. Maybe there's a difference. Maybe it's more 2019 Kevin Newman that we're going to see. He didn't strike out. He's making lots of contact. Maybe we can see someone who's, again, no power, but batting close to 300, gets on base, right? Who's walking more. We're seeing a lot of 2020 Kevin Newman again. So I have the StatCast up here, right? He ranks, everything's blue, except for K percentage, which again, he's still not striking out. The problem is he makes contact. Like, I wish maybe he didn't. Maybe he would just stand up there and not swing the bat and try to get walks, because he makes contact with everything and it goes right into the dirt. I think he has, I should bring it up. I think his launch angle right now is like what, -3 degrees? Is that what his average is?
It is -3.3.
There it is. Yeah, he's literally just hitting the ball into the dirt and not very hard.
Yeah, he has a bottom 7% in the league exit velocity, and he has a bottom 2% in hard hit rate, and he's hitting it straight into the dirt. So that's not great. Not great.
You want me to put it out there how I put it? He sucks.
That he does. I mean, he does. It's not.
He sucks right now. He sucks right now. There's really no way to put it other than that. Yeah, I mean, he is making contact, right? He's putting the ball in play, but that doesn't matter when you're putting the ball in play the way that he is.
Right. To say something
not
positive, he has elite contact rate. Well, we'll say this. He does have elite contact rate. But
that's true.
Kevin Newman's ceiling is a 280, 290, maybe 300 if you're lucky ceiling hitter. He ain't playing to that. He's not a good hitter. He's a green puff at the plate. And when you look around the league at the shortstop position right now, he's terrible.
Yeah, I mean
he's not good. He's like 28.
Oh, he's
towards
the bottom. He has not had a barrel yet this year. In 39, he has hit the ball 39 times, 0 barrels. Last year, hit the ball 138 times, 1 barrel. That's just, I mean, that's not good. And
now in 2019,
that's
not that he had a ton of power and such, but he had 9. I mean, his barrel percentage was still 2.1, very blue, very blue, which is not good. Yeah. But even in his best season where he had no power, I mean, it's even way worse than that right now.
Thank God Keith Law rated him as the best player in that draft.
Got some splaining to do, Keith.
Yeah, Keith, we got to think here.
Please I don't get it either. I don't get it either, because it's not like he's like a tiny dude. Like, as far as shortstops go, he's like he's bigger than a lot of major league shortstops. He should be able to hit the ball harder than he does. I don't know if it just has to do with his approach where he does make so much contact, so he's just not swinging hard. And I don't know what it is, but he looks like a completely different guy from spring training, because spring training, he was hitting the ball all over the field. He was hitting the ball hard. There were line drives. I don't know the last time I saw a Kevin Newman line drive. I don't even know if one has existed this year. He is not hitting line drives. Everything's on the ground. He's at a 69% ground ball rate. That's.
And I guess I just want to say one thing. Like when you said he hit the ball hard, I guess, I mean, maybe for Kevin Newman terms, I'm not gonna, is that fair? I mean, but the thing is, that's what we saw, and I liked it. So it's not as if he was out there barreling in spring training. But the thing was, he looked like a hitter. He was connecting, like you said. There were line drives. Balls were hitting grass, and now they're hitting 2 inches off of home plate. Going to the third baseman, going to the shortstop, and getting it out.
He is Juan Pierre without Juan Pierre's speed.
Oh wow, that's Even Juan Pierre.
He even looks worse than Juan Pierre at this point.
But I would love Juan Pierre.
He stinks.
There's really no other way to put it. He has stunk this whole beginning of the year.
So let's talk in a sense.
Last year he stinks.
We saw 2019 Newman, saw some promise, right? To more or less like live up to the prospect. I'm not gonna say hype so much, but the pedigree. Not maybe Keith Law's pedigree, but he was brought here because he had a hit tool. You felt there was one thing about him: he'd have a low floor, not much of a ceiling, but he would hit. He came in 2019 and he did that. He hit. Actually, a little more power than I expected. 2020 was terrible, but you kind of throw out the window. Now we're seeing 2021. I mean, again, it's small sample, but I mean, is this more indication of, is this really what Kevin Newman is? Are we just not going to see an average hitter out of Kevin Newman?
I think the floor is the ceiling is a lot lower than we thought. I think the ceiling is.
I think the floor is a lot lower too.
That's my concern.
Each has gone. Whoop.
Yeah,
like almost like with Colin Moran, like to that degree too. Like Colin Moran, very very low ceiling, right? Kind of like a high floor. Like he'll be a major leaguer, whether it's a backup, bench role, whatever. Like he's going to be in the majors. I feel like with Kevin Newman, like everything's just sliding way way down. This floor is just it's dropping. We're in the basement.
And that ceiling was not high to begin with.
No.
That ceiling was an average major league hitter.
Yeah, I mean Newman's ceiling was probably an average shortstop, right? Between like just an average glove and an average hit tool. And his floor now seems to be lifelong AAA player. I mean,
he ain't getting younger. He's not young.
And that's the other thing too. You're right. I mean, he's going to be 28 in August. I mean, this is past people's, like the start of their prime.
Yeah.
He's well into his prime right now. And we're wondering what he's going to be.
Not good. He's not good.
Yeah, I'm definitely worried.
I mean, at this point, I don't think Kevin Newman is playing any role on any future Pirate contenders. I'm ready to say that.
I don't know if I'm ready to say that. I'm not there yet. But the one thing I thought was, okay, the defense isn't good. Slide a second makes sense. He can hit, like he won't hurt the club. Where at short he can hurt it because the defense isn't great, right? So you put him at second, you imagine the defense probably gets a little bit better in that sense. So he doesn't hurt the club because at least he can just hit. But I like you're saying, Jim, I'm leading towards that path. I'm not there yet. I'm not going to call it out because he can go for the next 30 games now and show, okay, he belongs. But at this rate, based on last season and what he's doing right now, like, this isn't good. We understand launch angle. If you want to put the launch angle, the term for a sense, doesn't work for everyone. I mean, if you don't have power, There's no point of worrying about launch angle because you're not going to do anything with it. Like, what's Kevin Newman need to worry about launch angle for? So you can fly out to the warning track every time, you know? So, but the thing about him is he has, like, it just, I'm not even saying he's a slap hitter. It's worse than that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's not even that.
And it's the speed, like he has speed to a degree, but it's not like you're saying, Tyler, it's not elite. Where, I mean, how many, I know Jim loved the stat too, like he led the league in infield hits. I mean, that was like Starling Marte, you know, he had burning speed, like Juan Pierre could that too. I don't see Kevin Newman to that level. But yeah, like I just, what he's doing right now, like, I don't care if you move the second base at all. You're just not a productive player.
Keep it in the Pirates, you would hope he would hit like Adam Frazier.
Yes.
Like no power, slap hitter.
And that's the thing. Like, I would take Adam Frazier 2.0. Knowing what Adam Frazier has been, you know, on this next regime and such, I would take that from him. That's almost like kind of, I think, what I was expecting if Newman was to go over there with less power, but probably maybe better average, hopefully less streaky. But
yeah, I mean, ideally we were looking at Newman as being a guy who could hit 280 to 300 and give you 10 homers.
Or 5. I'll take 5.
I mean, he hit 12, right, in 2019. So, I mean...
Yes, but I would still take 5.
Ball was probably super juiced, right, in 2019. But, yeah, I just... He doesn't seem like he's going to be that guy. I don't know. It is early, so it could just be a bad month, but he has looked bad.
Looked bad for a long time.
And I know it's small. Like, we're hammering him right now. It is just the 14 games as mentioned, but it is just a carryover from last year. It's the same stuff. It's just, it seems it's enough to worry about. I have major concerns about Kevin Newman.
I don't have concerns. I think he's bad. Yes.
I'm keeping it
coming into the year. Yeah, coming in the year, he had no part of any future team. So it was more of let's hope that he can get it together and they can trade him at some point. He's going to be potential. 28.
I mean, I know, but still, I mean, it's not like 30, 31 second baseman is just out of the realm. You don't have to worry about a contract extension.
They got enough shortstops.
Well, that's part of it. I mean, that's the thing too. I mean, there is a lot of depth at middle infield. So it's not as if it's not like the Pirates need to have Kevin Newman. Like, they need Mitch Keller.
Yeah.
But major concerns about Kevin Newman being a future baseball player for the Pirates or any team.
Yeah, I'd say any team.
Yeah, I mean, I think if Newman doesn't pick it up this year, then there's no point keeping him around for next year.
He sucks.
I mean, there's enough options out there. Like, bring Cole Tucker up and let him do this. Cole Tucker can be.
He sucks too.
I know, but Cole Tucker can be doing this.
At least he could be the next younger version that sucks
and play better defense.
No, piss on all that. Bring up Piguero.
I think you still have to develop players.
Nope, piss on it. Eliminate minor leagues.
I guess that was going to be my point. So if you, I mean, if you get rid of him, who is it? It's Cole Tucker, I guess. I mean, then who?
You got
there is depth
too,
but where are they at?
Is still technically a shortstop.
Yeah, he's going to play right field.
I mean, Piguero, Gonzalez. I mean, are they?
Gonzalez is still
Gonzalez
around.
is going to be a second.
Are they going to be ready for opening day next year, or do you just still have Newman on the club? Like I see Newman still.
Eric Gonzalez. Eric Gonzalez will still be here.
Oh,
yeah, and he's going to hit the same as Kevin Newman. So what does it matter?
I would have to reevaluate this
right
after
now.
The season.
I have much more confidence in Eric Gonzalez's bat right now than Kevin Newman's.
Kevin Newman stinks.
I would have to reevaluate this at the end of the year.
I literally just said I trust Eric Gonzalez more. That's how much I think of Kevin Newman right now. Yeah.
You know what it is to me? It's the same thing as Chad Cole right now. You got to ride it out, but he stinks.
He does. And that one's not mental.
Sometimes guys just stink.
Well, and that's why the Pirates are bad, so we shouldn't be shocked that there's a lot of guys we're talking about that stink. So
yeah, I was expecting them to be
They
bad.
should stink.
all right.
It would have taken a miracle for them to not stink. A lot of these guys suck really bad. You live with it.
So as mentioned, we will move on to something positive. I brought up a little bit earlier and said we would talk more about him in depth. Colin Moran. Colin Moran has not stunk so far. Colin Moran has looked good. Now we brought some concerns we talked about, right? Obviously, but when you look at Colin Moran, not everything's blazing red, but there's definitely red, some light red on his StatCast page. He's hitting the ball fairly hard when he hits it. He's barreling up balls. He's in the top 86 percentile in barrels. I just feel like, so one thing we talked about, and I think it's fun to bring up right now. One of the things we were interested in wondering is who would have the higher WAR, right? The Pirates first baseman, which doesn't have Todd Frazier anymore, or the Nationals first baseman with Josh Bell. And so far, I'm liking what I see. Colin Moran.
Where are we at?
I haven't looked yet, actually. And I'm not going to do it too right now either because, Josh Bell was play like his third or fourth.
He's been out. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not going to really, it's small samples it is. And it's even real more extreme with him. But just to say something about Colin Moran. So of course, not only has he looked good offensively, but also can we appreciate competent defense? Isn't it nice to see a ball thrown to second, potential and some double plays have been made that started with Colin Moran?
We've had so many years of bad defensive first base.
So many.
It's been a while.
Going back to, it's probably been 6 years of bad defensive first base.
It's probably been more than that.
At least that.
Bad.
Adam LaRoche was the last one who I can remember being competent.
Maybe Gabby.
The one I was going to go is Gabby. Was Gabby?
Gabby, but he was a part-time player though. He wasn't.
Garrett Jones was okay-ish. He wasn't good, but you went from Garrett Jones to Pedro,
right,
who was the worst defensive baseball player I have ever seen in my life. And then Jason looked like a freaking space cadet. And then Josh Bell. God, we've had some bad years.
Yes. So again, Colin Moran now. Not that he's some incredible specimen out there that you just think, oh, so athletic. He's going to be fantastic at first base. It's quite the opposite. However, maybe just because we're, so far along the way from seeing quality first base that it's just so appeasing to us. But he has been actually good. He does so far in this short sample rank well defensively. So Colin Moran,
he can throw a baseball. Good for him. We haven't had that in a while.
How good though is Colin Moran? Is this someone that we can really get on board? Because 2020 was a major difference, I think, from Colin Moran. We saw a very competent Colin Moran out there. But again, it was 60 games, and you think, well, how long will that last? And so far into this season, it's gotten even better. It's taken another step, as we talked a little bit about. Tyler doesn't believe so much into it, but I'm seeing a whole another step into Colin Moran being a better player. Is there really something in Colin Moran?
I think the thing to look at to determine is Colin Moran a 2-WAR player, which is fine. It's your average major leaguer, right?
When's the last time the Pirates have had a 2-WAR first baseman outside of that one season of Josh Bell? Which
I don't even know if he was that because his defense was so bad.
He was 2.4.
2.4 is on my mind, yeah.
Yeah. So is Colin Moran a 2-WAR player, or is Colin Moran more of a 3-WAR player? I think he's more of a 2-WAR player. I think if he can keep this walk rate up, right? He's hovering around 14% right now. If that is something that has fundamentally changed, then maybe you're pushing 3. But I think you're looking at more of a 2-win player, which is again, that's your average major leaguer. That's fine. I don't know if Colin Moran is going to be someone that you can necessarily like flip at a trade deadline for like major assets. Average corner infielders aren't necessarily like the most sought after thing in the world, I don't think. But no, he's I think he can be that. I think he can be like a 2-win player and like on his best of a best year, get to maybe 3.
Would have taken Colin Moran on like the 2014, 2015 team.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right now.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And
if he was on the 2015 team, did the Pirates win?
I think he's like a 1.5 win player.
The Pirates not have to go into the wild card if he's their first baseman?
Yeah, maybe Sean Rodriguez doesn't have to come in the 6th inning. But I think he's like a 1.5 win player max. I don't see it.
So maybe I'm a little more optimistic.
WRC plus.
Yeah. Okay. So with that being said, I want to bring up something. I'm using 2019 because obviously 2020 doesn't make sense. I'm kind of with Jim. Like, I'm not going out here saying he's going to be a 3-WAR player. I don't think Colin Moran has that in him. I think if Colin Moran can be a 2-win player, that's where we're getting at. Like, if Colin Moran can be that, that's a lot more than I think a lot of people were anticipating. Especially after the trade, especially after the first few years, So if he can be a 2-WAR player, that is an everyday first baseman, I'll take that. And to rank them, so if you're looking at, just purely on WAR and such, looking at first baseman from 2019, I mean, that would rank him as the 16th best first baseman. So he's kind of like in the middle, right? In the likes of like Christian Walker, Eric Thames, I keep saying Thames, G-Man Choi, like Reese Hoskins, like those type of guys. That to me is fine. That's more than I expected Colin Moran to be. And if you're looking at weighted run created plus, like Reese Hoskins was a 113, Walker was a 111, Danny Santana 111, like those ranks too. So you can be that if his defense is at least adequate. I feel like you can be that type of player and be a 2-win player.
I'm even leaning more towards right now. Like, I mean, beginning of the year, I think we were all kind of expecting Moran to be somebody who was traded. I mean, he's got this year, he's got 2022, he's got 2023. He's not a free agent until 2024. Like, I think Colin Moran is like your short-term first baseman for the foreseeable future, like for the next few years. Because, like, first off, you don't really have any other options there. Your first baseman in the minors is Mason Martin, who isn't necessarily, I mean, who knows? He can hit home runs, but he strikes out like 50% of the time. So, and that's an A-ball. So I don't really have much faith in him. But I mean, I think Colin Moran has a shot at like being a Pirate for the next 3 years.
I don't hate that at all. Because what's he going to return in a trade?
So I guess
at some point you still need that clubhouse presence, even if he isn't much of one.
I guess my question I'm going to present then is if he is at the trade deadline, okay? I'm not saying he's like keeping this pace. I'm not saying he's like a 160 weighted run created plus type, but if he's at the trade deadline and he's still semi-hot, like he's looking very productive, a 130 weighted run created plus. 120, 130, something like that, right? 125, put in the middle. Do you try to capitalize on that? Or do you look to keep him? Because like what Jim said, I mean, it makes sense. Like he could per se, but at the same sense, I guess, what do you truly believe Colin Moran is long-term to not possibly capitalize if you can right now?
I mean, if Colin Moran has a 140 weighted runs created plus at the deadline.
We're not going 140.
He's
go 125. Somewhat modest, Jim.
125. At 125, I don't know what the return would be like.
No, still?
So, I mean, I still think it depends on what the return is, right? So, I mean, if somebody's going to give you a haul for Colin Moran, then sure, you do it. right? Because
I still don't think he'll get a
that's,
haul.
That's what we're doing. But like, if all he's going to get you is, I don't even know what would be a comparable trade here.
Like if they give you a couple 23-year-old AAA guys,
we're not talking 23.
Yeah, no.
But like, if they give you something, if they give you something
that's like pretty
the
interesting,
Tony Watson deal, and I'm going to say that obviously O'Neal Cruz panned out to be a top prospect in that sense, but a young intriguing person. It's O'Neal Cruz at that time. If you get the Tony Watson deal, even, which potentially I think you might be able to get more than that. I don't know, but
I think you probably could get more than that.
But it's something that's intriguing. It's a long shot, but
I think if you're going to trade him,
kind of been doing right now too.
Yeah, I think if you're going to trade him, it's going to have to be like a clear cut. We are adding talent to this organization type trade.
Yeah, I can't really think of a trade that would be similar, but it would have to be something like what you were saying with Tony Watson. Other than that, is there really a point? Like, you're not going after Will Crows of the world.
No, absolutely not. And honestly, like what Cherington has shown so far is that's not the trade he's going to make.
Yeah, I mean he hasn't been doing those, so.
It's tough to really find a deal for a first baseman that is just above average. I can't really think of the last one that happened.
Justin Morneau to the Pirates.
Yeah, I mean that was like a 1 month.
And that was Alex Presley.
Derek Lee to the Pirates.
Yeah, and that was Aaron Baker.
I don't know how many other examples are of like a 2-year. I mean, because he still has 2 more years left of control.
Yeah, the control. I don't know if it adds or not. Though
it adds a little bit, but
so maybe if anything, maybe more of an off-season trade opposed to a deadline deal. I don't know. That's interesting. Again, I guess I didn't look too much about him being on this club for years.
Yeah,
and I guess I could see it, but I guess also at the same time, I just feel like why.
Why not?
Why not?
Yeah, I mean that's
because even if I'm getting
like a why not? Because if you're not, again, you have to get something.
I still have
reservations
on Colin Moran.
Oh, I do too.
As well, but it's like,
and that's why.
And again, this is
because if he's looking to be a competitive type of player, I almost feel like, again, we're not getting a Will Crow. I firmly believe like whatever Cherington pulls off, whatever the trade, if a trade would happen, it would be something like a Watson. It's going to be a younger player, some intrigue, 1 or 2 players, right? That whoever's trading them, it doesn't hurt them too much because they're listed as a number 20 some prospect or whatnot. They're far off, right? They're competing right now, so who cares? For the Pirates, that's something they could definitely crave and want in return. And go with it and see what you got, because even though we joked and made fun that we would love a Colin Moran for those years, I mean, Colin Moran will be gone in 2024. Is it worth to keep him around and hope that in 2024, when the Pirates might be ready to compete, that he's still worthy or whatnot, when this other kid might be ready to make his debut in the majors? I just feel like if he's showing any life and you've got to trade at the deadline, to pull it.
If you look at like the Brewers-Rays trade, when the Brewers traded Jesus Aguilar to the Rays, I think Aguilar had like 35 bombs that year, was really raking, right? And the Brewers got back a 26-year-old pitcher who was kind of struggling but has decent stuff.
But that was still a rental though, right? Because then he signed with Miami the year after.
Was he a rental?
So it's still like it still is a bit different because at least he doesn't have the control.
I don't know if teams are giving up a ton of talent for average first baseman.
But he can play third.
And Aguilar actually was not a rental.
He can play third.
No.
Aguilar actually was about in the same boat. Aguilar was in the same boat. Aguilar has 1 more year of service time than Colin Moran. So when he was traded, he was actually
He had a year and a half left.
he was in his third year. He had 3 years left.
Oh, okay, you're right. Miami
and then the
signed him.
Rays
They
actually-
signed him because the
yeah.
Rays DFA'd him.
Rays DFA'd him in the
Yes,
offseason.
I remember that because Ryan and I talked our ish about that.
Yeah.
Shocker.
He hit
Because,
35 home runs in 2018, and then in 2019 he kind of took a little step back,
Yes,
and then he got DFA'd.
you're right.
Yeah.
The Rays did DFA him. Miami scooped him up. That's right. Okay, so then he wasn't actually just a pure rental. That's fair enough. And you're right. I mean,
I think
we
that's-
talk about. I
yeah.
think mainly we've talked more of the outfielders, like corner outfielders, but it also stays the same for the corner infielders, like first baseman, third baseman. I think a little bit different because of defense and such.
Third
but-
baseman are different, yeah.
Yeah, but like corner outfielders, first baseman at the trade deadline typically don't fetch a big haul. So I don't know.
Unless they're like elite.
Right. But okay. That's fair. I'm still on the board if you can get something. It all of course comes down to it, but if you can get something that's intriguing, I feel you pull the trigger this year.
Yeah. I think it's pretty much that way with almost everybody. Almost.
Yes.
There's probably 4 or 5 you don't. Maybe 3 or 4.
I'll say right. Depending on so how about Brian Reynolds?
Reynolds, I wouldn't.
Are you keeping?
I would.
Do you think the
I
same
would
thing
keep
about
Reynolds for now.
Moran?
Hayes. I would keep Reynolds, Hayes, Keller. Because Keller, you're not getting anything intriguing enough. And that's about it.
Yeah.
Trying to go around the lineup right now.
And obviously like the
I'm
younger
with him there.
bullpen
I think
arms.
Yeah. But
I think
of the
Ren-
Major
yeah.
League roster, yeah.
Reynolds, Hayes, Keller. That's
it. The rest,
everyone
let me
else
hear you.
isn't tied down.
You made,
Yeah,
I
I
feel
agree.
almost like a hot take to a degree, Jim, in our group chat. Jacob Stallings, do you want to talk about that? Enlighten us what you feel. I almost felt like you said it.
I think I said Jacob Stallings is good. What did I don't know. What
I
did
think it was
miss?
you. Did you say something about you feel Jacob Stallings will be traded before the deadline?
Oh yeah, I think Stallings with the way that he's playing right now could definitely be a trade chip. Because I think that's one thing. Teams are always looking for catchers. You saw the Padres trade for catcher last deadline.
Mhm.
They actually acquired a couple of them, right? So there's going to be some teams who are competing, and they're going to need some catching options. And just based off of this year, last year, I mean, I know he doesn't do anything sexy, right? But like if you look at the numbers, Jacob Stallings has been one of the better catchers in baseball the last year and a half. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me, but it's true. Right?
And really, if you
You
carry
look-
over, he wasn't one of the
Yeah.
better, but he had just 210 plate appearances in 2019. But in 2019, he also performed in that.
Yeah.
With just those 71
20
games, he had a 1.3 WAR.
2019, 2020, and now he's off to a hot start in 2021. I mean, he's already put up about a half a win already in 2021. Like if he catches 120 games this year, he could be a 3 to 4 win catcher.
I mean, when you look at it and put it on paper, so in like the past 3 years since 2019 to 2020, he's played in basically 140 games, and that's given 2.7 WAR.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm taking that all day long for a catcher.
Right. And I think a lot of teams would. You look at like what the Mariners got for Nola
Jeez,
last
I
year,
know.
right? If the Pirates are able to get a Taylor Trammell type prospect for Jacob Stallings, then you do that, right? Like that is a move that you make. So
That is a
yeah, I
gift.
think so. I think Stallings is someone who, like I said, if he continues to do this, and I'm not saying Stallings is going to continue to hit 3.
Well,
He's hitting
no,
He's hitting 300 right now. He's got a 151 weighted runs created plus. Like, he's not going to do that. But if Jacob Stallings is in that 90 to 100 weighted runs created plus and providing great defense, there's going to be teams who want him.
And another thing about the approach is to go here. We talk about Moran. So Jacob Stallings has also walked 9 times so far. He's walked 9 times and struck out 10.
21% walk rate.
It's incredible.
He's Chris Stewart.
He is. And we joked about it. Like, that ball he hit the other night was the hardest ball I think we've ever seen him hit, and it went to the warning track. I mean, he also a guy who's not short in stature, like you said about Kevin Newman. You know, he's kind of a bigger guy. You know, like Jacob Stallings should be able to put one over the fence, but he doesn't. But regardless, even with that, he's never been a liability per se offensively. I don't anticipate him to be this good offensively this year as well, but like he's decent enough. And he's looked good so far offensively this year. He's hitting the ball where he needs to. It's not for power, but he's getting the gaps, he's getting the grass in the outfield. It's not Kevin Newman where he's going straight down to the dirt.
He's a 452 on base. 452 on base percentage.
He's walking the hell out of it.
He's not. They're not getting it.
But,
Jacob Stallings.
But
it's a fun thought process. It's a nice little thought, but
and I guess what I want to say is
regress. He's not good. Like, he's okay. I'm sorry.
You're wrong. I'm just I'm telling you, you're wrong. Like, I like, straight up, I think you're incorrect. I think Jacob Stallings is going to be a player that teams want at the deadline.
I think you're wildly incorrect on that. I think he ends up being, at that point, he's an 80 WRC plus guy. Good glove, but I don't think they get anything for him.
I do.
I'd try, but
I do.
I just don't see it. If they do, I'll dance in the street.
I'm holding it to you.
Dancing in the street.
Good thing I said not literally.
We'll do an NS9 live from the street.
I'm just hoping that he ends up at 1.9, then they trade him, and then he ends up with like a 1 WAR, so I win my over-under. What was it, 2?
I forget.
I can't remember.
I think it was
WAR.
I don't know. If it was WAR and it was 2.
Was it like
then
yeah, I can't remember. I think it was
halfway there.
Top 15.
I think it was a WAR number, but I don't remember.
Either way, I do feel that he will. I'm with Jim. I think he's going to be coveted to a degree. No, I don't think he's obviously like an elite catcher, but I think he's a good catcher, and teams will want that at the deadline. And he shows enough of it. But again, so far I am impressed. What I was going to say is, I guess also if you think about with the walks, at the same time, I guess maybe that's a little skewed, because also when you're looking who's really pitching behind him, how many times do you think he's maybe been pitched around so that way they get to Anthony Alford? So maybe there's a couple walks in there that really wasn't too deserving. But at any rate, it's still better than normal right now. All right.
We're done with Anthony Alford.
Are we done with the show?
I will say this. So walk rate, if we're going walk rate here, Jacob Stallings, higher than Mike Trout.
Good for him. Or 13 is it?
What about the swing path?
He's going to end up hitting terribly.
Is the swing path the same as Mike Trout too?
No,
very similar. Yeah, very similar.
All right. Well, I think we've talked enough here. I think the one thing we can say before we do go is Pirates are bad. They're going to be bad, but they've at least been interesting to watch. I think that's something we can get on board with. There's been
at least this last week. Kind of there were that Red series was not interesting.
Just give me Bryant back.
Okay.
But getting Hayes back will be nice for sure.
So playing the Cubs has been fun, is basically what we're saying.
Yes. Playing the Cubs has been very fun.
Okay, that's fair. All right. We're out of here then. We'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Later, guys.